at all because it just like we knew that we needed to be together with each other. But for most people, I would say that's not the case. It's normally like a toxic, like breaking up back and forth. And in that case, you should just let them go. Don't take them back.
Yeah.
But if, you know, you have a connection and there's like other circumstances and there are things that you can forgive, like if you're the person being broken up with, you can forgive it and move on or work through it, or like, you know, that you and this person can work through the things that have happened and it's worth it to you, I say take somebody back. But it has to be that like extraordinary circumstance.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, exactly.
And you'll know if it is. Like you'll know because you'll be operating in ways that are different. You know, like even though, like I said, when I was like, look, if we're done, we're done. That's how I normally would have operated.
Right.
I still fought for you. And I still, like when you came back, I still gave you the opportunity to be heard. I wasn't like, you know, like, no, I'm done. Like, I mean, I was done, but you know, I still also heard you out because I cared about you and that I could be swayed.
Yeah. And I think, well, and also, I mean, like what you said about our story. Yeah. What do we got? An hour? You know, it's like we did this in 15 minutes. You know, we don't have 8 hours to explain the entire story, or, you know what I mean? Like hearing the bits and pieces of it, people might be confused. They're like, that's crazy. Or, I mean, if you just hear the bits and pieces, the highlights, it's like, you know, oh, well, Dawn was married and then this happened. Like, you know, why would she, you know, even deal with this at all? And I get it.
I ask myself that sometimes when I look at it subjectively. But
there's a lot to our story. Like there's so many details and so many things. We're just kind of given the quick version of it. But
that's what I'm trying to say, though. If you like know, and I feel like even from doing this podcast, and especially people who have interacted with you and I in person, like you can just tell we go together. And like I felt that, like it's that when you know feeling. And like I said, you had always like said said you're going to do something and done it and showed that to me. I don't think we could have got back together if you didn't do that. Right. And if you didn't, if you were all words or things were still kind of similar. Like, I mean, we had to both deal with a lot in those instances.
And, and there were other circumstances too. Like I guess I didn't even mention this part, is that I had left San Diego to go to Florida. I'd done that pretty quickly. And I'd left my daughter behind, Sophia. And in my crazy head, I thought, oh, well, we'll just visit every month, you know, or so. Maybe at first, well, I'll get established and then she'll just come and fly out here and then I'll go and fly out there. And I was like, okay, Florida, San Diego, she's going to school.
Which you did do. You flew out for her birthday. I did. Then she came to visit us. And then, you know, we had other plans too. But yeah, I knew from the beginning though that, because when you told me that you had a kid, I was like, I don't want anything to come between that, you know? Like your divorce, that's like your story with like your past and things like that. But I didn't want anything to, you know, affect her. So when you left the second time, it was more about her. And I understood that better. I still felt like blindsided by you, us going to dinner and then you being like, I'm leaving. Yeah. You know, and then again, you broke up with me because you wanted to like figure, like to deal with your emotions without them affecting me. But really, we were already too entwined for like it to not affect me. The thing that could have worked if you did that in the very beginning. Yeah, maybe. You know, but
I didn't have those emotions in the very beginning. That was the weird thing, was that I was and like I said with the Sophia thing. I mean, it forced me to face the reality of the situation. And I think when I left too, part of what I was thinking was I was like, oh, rather than me being there or trying to do some kind of split, she'll be better off just with her mom, and maybe her mom will take better care of her now, and like, she takes better care of her than I do anyway, and like it'll be better if I just visit her, she visits me, and that's what I was thinking at the time. That's not correct, right? But that's what I was thinking at the time.
Right. And then I hadn't processed a lot of things,
and then I started to see how she was not better off. And then I started to panic, and but that's when I knew that I needed to be in San Diego. And then, you came out, and at first I was thinking I need to just be there by myself. And that wasn't.
Which you did do for a month.
Which I did. Which I think that actually did help, because I think it was good for me to just clear my head, to just figure it out, to make sure that, to just have that time to be able to do that. But yeah, but there's a lot. And I think the big thing, what I've been trying to get to, is that in our relationship, even though we had broken up, it was never about our relationship.
Right. That wasn't the reason we were breaking up.
Right. It was these other circumstances, these other things, but it was never, we got into a fight and we broke up. Never.
Right.
Or, or we're upset at each other or something, and then we break up, or this isn't working out. That was never. And I think that's really the difference. If you're in that kind of situation where it's not about the relationship, and for some reason, you have to go to college, or whatever it ends up being, that someone might, end up breaking up, then getting back together is okay, because your circumstances have changed. It's not like you had an issue in the relationship. Because I think most of the advice, at least when I would tell someone the same thing, is, hey, don't take someone back, or don't get back together with your ex, would be based around, it didn't work the first time.
Because of the relationship problems. Yeah.
So it's not going to work now. And you're just going to get back into the same patterns that you were before. And if this person who's now coming back to you, if they are coming back, and this is what happens a lot of times, and this happened to me, if they're coming back and they're like, oh, I'm going to do all these things that you wanted me to do now. I'm going to treat you right now. And they have the list and they know all the things, that's tempting. Because then you're like, oh, wow, they're going to do all the things I want.
No, see, I'd be like, so you knew the whole time and you didn't do it. That would make me more pissed.
You stole my thunder.
Well, that would make me more pissed. You were like, it's tempting. That would not be tempting at all to me.
But that was just my setup to say what you stole my thunder.
Well, sorry, but like that would be the just knife in the coffin for me. It'd be like, so you knew this whole time.
Right.
And the second you lost it is when you're going to treat me better. And to be honest, I would expect it to go right back to where it was.
Right.
I would not expect to change. Because if you knew that whole time and you chose not to do it, you really expect me to believe that you're going to now do it consistently.
Right.
And not revert back.
And why wouldn't you have if you already knew it? You know what I mean?
Like exactly.
That's the thing, is that at that point, it's the same thing. I mean, it's a little bit of a different thing, but I always talk about like firing people, right? If I fire someone, I don't give them a warning. I don't tell them what they need to change. I point out mistakes that they've made or things, and then once I made the decision, they're fired. There's no excuses. There's no saying, oh, I'll fix this or change this, because I know they won't. Because I know that if I've already set the expectations and the standards and they're not doing them now, if I threaten them and say, I'm going to fire you if you don't do this, they will fix it temporarily. And then they'll go right back to it because they already knew it. They weren't performing. They weren't living up to it. I've already made the decision. So it's the same type of thing. Is it's like, look, if you're in a relationship with someone and they understand what your needs are, what things that they need to change or fix, the things that are problems in the relationship that are their cause, and they're not willing to do those things, then if you leave them and then now they're willing to do it, it's going to be a temporary change.
True. So I have a question for you. If the tables were turned and I was doing this stuff, would you have taken me back both times?
Yeah. Because it wasn't an issue in our relationship. Better than